The air is heavy, the shadows seem to breathe, and somewhere just beyond the veil, something stirs, waiting. The Conjuring Last Rites promised to be the final chapter, a last prayer against the darkness. But finally, prayers aren't always answered. Tonight, we open the door, step inside, and see what lingers in the dark. Welcome to Winter Wolfston's review of The Conjuring Last Rites.
Guys, welcome back to Winter Wolf's Den. Winter Wolf here, King Z in the Beehole chair. We both just saw The Conjuring Last Rites. We're going to go spoiler-free on this kind of mini review video, do things a little differently. We'll invite you to go check out the movie and then maybe check back with us, maybe drop a couple of comments on what you thought. And then we'll have a longer spoiler review where we get into the franchise and other things like that. So, King, right off the rip, give me some positives on this. We'll do positives, mids, and negatives, I think, just to keep things moving.
I like the feel of it. It was stayed true to the form of the rest of the franchise, so it didn't veer off or make any wild turns. It's exactly what you would expect coming into this type of movie. I think the actors did a fantastic job telling this new story as they've been leading up towards this through the other Conjurings. You can see it because the times keep changing. They get later and later in their careers, and yeah, you could definitely see what they were going for in this movie, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, I think a big positive for me, I'm going to zero in, like you said, mention about the actresses. I think that's going to be everybody's main takeaway. I think Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are an incredible on-screen couple. They completely sell this franchise every time they're on the screen together, hands down. They never look like they're bored. They never look like they're mailing it in. They adapt to whatever story is in front of them in each of the movies in different ways, depending on the nature of the case or the threat level or who's involved. And I think that's it's a testimony to their professionalism, that they make me interested in wanting to see more of the quiet moments that they have as a married couple. And when they have those kind of assessments of that analysis of, oh, I don't know if you should do that. Oh, I don't know. We can't not help people. Like it's nice to see them being human and not just potential fodder in like a slasher movie. And I think you can only nail that with actors of that level, like of that caliber. So that's right up there for me as like positive number one. What else did you think? Do you have another major positive takeaway?
I mean, the movie itself covered one of their, I would say, harder cases. Like, if you are familiar with the Warrens, if you're familiar with their investigations, the books they wrote, then you know the case that they're talking about in this movie, because it's one of the key ones. Like, this was one of the ones that kind of pushed them over the edge. Yeah. So, and it was all over the news. So they introduced their daughter in the last one, and like she was trying to get into the relic room. She wanted to see the Annabelle doll. So I want to find out more about her, what she's doing. I guess it's not really a spoiler, so I'll go ahead and say that she has a bigger role in this movie. They actually have an actress to portray her at her proper age, right when this was going on.
Yeah,
I really like the dynamic. Like, I really appreciate what the Warrens did. They're the forefront people in the para investigational world. A lot of the claims against them, I believe, are falsified. One of their biggest complaints, he always ties it back to demons, where that's been proven false over and over again. He was a demonologist, meaning that he studied demons, so everything didn't go back to demons. He did all sorts of different type of work for both the church. The one thing that they portray in the movie that he actually wasn't he never performed an exorcism. He always had a priest there for that. So he actually knew them, and like he was like a point of contact. He was like, he would be someone like a contractor that the Vatican would reach out to him to go do an investigation to see if they needed to bring in the big guns.
And they play into that. Like, that's usually how they get involved in the case in the movie. He just happens to absorb the hero ending part. You know what I mean? For what they do here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they hit those pretty well.
Yeah, there was a couple dogma things I believe they got wrong, and that's the part I didn't agree with, which we'll talk about more in the spoiler free. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, come back and watch the other video.
Okay. I'll give you another, just a brief positive that I picked up on it. I like the fact that these movies feel interchangeable, that you don't have to watch them in a certain order, that there was a cohesive vision, even though they had different directors for some of the different films. It feels like that you could watch these out of order and still just enjoy a pretty creepy movie and take away a lot of those kind of vibes. Like the imagery looks the same, shot selection looks the same, like grading looks the same. Like they have their own flair of what they're going for. The creature imagery, I think a lot of people were dumping on it in this movie. I didn't see anything wrong with it. A creepy ghost with weird smiles. It's what you do. You know, I don't know. It worked for me, so I didn't have any problem with that. I liked that it looked like a Conjuring movie, and I think my global like wrap up on it would just be, it feels like going to this movie, seeing The Conjuring 4 feels like going back to Universal and getting on a ride you really like. Like it's a little predictable, but you know, like, you know, the twists and turns if you're paying attention, but the drops are the drops. You know what I mean? That zero G turn or whatever, it still slides, so you're still having fun. So I like that. It's not new ground, but it's effective ground, and that's all. That's the threshold I need for me to say something's good. Is it has to be at least effective, and I think it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people going in, this isn't like your typical horror movie. There are character development and
Oh
there's
yeah,
family
lots,
stories going on as well.
lots.
So it's not just trying to be jump scare after jump scare, even though I would say the tension in this one is, I haven't felt this tension in a Conjuring movie since the first one. So I
Yeah,
really enjoyed that.
yeah. I would say that, especially in the last act, like they kind of floor it, like Weapons did. Like when they get going, like it's relentless for like, and it's a long relentless, like 20 minutes. It's
Yeah.
like it's nonstop. Give me a negative if you had any without spoiling.
Negative. I did say the dogma issue that I had about it.
Oh
So
yeah,
there
yeah.
was that was kind of wrong. Too long into the family dynamic and a few things going on with the family at the time. So
Mhm.
that might be just a little bit too long, but I know what they were building at, so I would give it a pass.
I got a couple of small, like, again, I think that our longer movie is longer review is just going to be like a 30-minute glazing of this movie because I had a really good time. But I had two nitpicks. One of them had to do with the priest. I'm just going to say that right now because I don't want to spoil things for folks that are getting in there. Saying I did not agree with certain narrative decisions in that entire sequence that happened after the priest left the Smurl family home. We'll talk about that in the spoiler section. And then my other nitpick kind of is the like the identification of the spirit involved. Like I feel like a big part of the other three movies was uncovering the mystery of who was behind the happening, not the movie, like, you know, like what was happening here.
Yeah.
And this one I feel like they kind of ran right by that. Like there was just a scene where Lorraine's talking to Ed out on the porch. She's like, there was a family. They lived here, but not in this house. They lived on the land. It was a farm. He killed them. And I'm like, all right, I'm like, cool. There we go. And I feel like the other three, not that they went into like a deep dive or like they're in the library, like doing the montage of like the research scenes, but it felt like they ran right past this. And maybe that's because, like you said, they were focusing on the married couple's dynamics, the dynamic between mother and daughter, which was a big influence in the movie, and then the relationship between daughter and new fiance. Like there was a couple of things going on here, and maybe they just didn't want to lean into, well, we've done the investigating the three ghost stories in the three last movies, like we're doing new stuff here. So maybe that was why. So I think that should do it for our spoiler-free review of The Conjuring, guys. We both enjoyed it. I'll speak for both of us on this one. Go check it out, and then come back. Let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie, what you think of the franchise, where you want it to go in the future. Because allegedly it's the last one. I tend to think it's not, and I think the box office is going to suggest I'm right. And then check out our longer review, which we're going to do right now. And we'll see you guys on both videos.